The scientist injected the genes of a python into a man. Unexpectedly, the man's skin instantly grew scales, and his face also rapidly contracted and deformed. Seeing that his whole body completely mutated, the scientist immediately increased the dosage for him to promote the rapid fusion of snake cells. However, just when he was full of expectations, the man's heart suddenly started beating violently, and then the evolution of his body suddenly stagnated and finally turned into a half-human, half-snake monster. This scene made the scientist extremely angry and immediately sent the monster to the circus as an exhibit for tourists to watch and earn some extra money by using him. However, the scientist's perverted research did not stop there. He also hired a new assistant at a huge cost, falsely claiming that the animals in the laboratory were toxic. For safety reasons, he decided to inject a tube of serum antibody to the assistant. Seeing that the boss was so considerate, the innocent Jesse immediately accepted it happily, but he did not know that this injection would ruin his doctor. That night, his body suddenly became unbearably hot, and as a result, when he woke up, he found that he had slept for 3 days and 3 nights. What made him even more terrified was that his two pupils began to continuously expand, and even his skin was frantically peeling off. Then he hurriedly found the scientist to ask about the situation, but the scientist seemed extremely excited and instead put forward a bold idea. The man was injected with a dose of python venom by the scientist, and then his body gradually underwent a strange change. At first, he just felt unbearably hot all over his body, but as time passed, the skin on his face also began to fall off frantically. Terrified, he immediately found the scientist for help, but the other side falsely claimed that it was a rejection reaction caused by the vaccine antibody and injected another dose of venom for him, claiming that it was just a symptomatic remedy. But Jesse had no idea that he was about to transform into a cold-blooded animal in the following days. He not only developed a strong interest in the pythons in the laboratory, but also had a strong love for his female colleague, and even broke through Bella's psychological defense with some sweet talk. It was unexpected that after the two established a relationship, they were taken by the scientist to play in the wild and even spent a crazy night wantonly, and even went to the local circus together to enjoy each other's company and laughter. But after a passionate moment, they were deeply attracted by the words of the circus owner, who said that there was a Snake Man performance in the exhibition hall. However, Bella refused to watch because of fear, but Jesse had already been obsessed with snakes and immediately spent 9.9 to enter the exhibition hall to find out. As a result, when he saw the Snake Man, he suddenly had a strange sense of familiarity and instantly associated with various changes in himself. He decided to tell Bella about this phenomenon, but unexpectedly found that he was being harassed by a local ruffian. Angrily, he wanted to go forward to reason, but was knocked down to the ground by the other side. Then the two immediately wrestled together until the police arrived at the scene to resolve the conflict. But unexpectedly, when Bella and the two just got home, the dissatisfied local ruffian followed them. He climbed up the window along the ladder outside the wall, intending to do something wrong to Bella, but unexpectedly, as soon as he stuck out his head, a python suddenly wrapped around his arm, scaring him to fall heavily from upstairs, and Bella's cry for help soon attracted the attention of the scientist and Jesse. But when they arrived, the local ruffian stepped on the gas and left. Seeing Bella holding her beloved pet and crying bitterly, the scientist was immediately furious. In order to avenge his daughter, he immediately took a highly poisonous python and secretly sneaked into the local ruffian's home, and then took out the big treasure from his briefcase while the other side was taking a bath. The man was enjoying the bath with a relaxed face, but he had no idea that someone was peeping outside the door. The old man didn't say a word and took out a poisonous snake and threw it into the bathroom. Although the man reacted in time, he was still bitten by the snake. Seeing that the villain who bullied his daughter was completely dead, the scientist hurriedly went home to report the good news, but unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped into the door, he suddenly found clothes scattered all over the place. When he learned that his daughter had got together with his assistant, he was completely furious and sternly warned his daughter to stay away from this man. But Bella was stubborn and ignored his father's advice. In order to cut off this relationship between the two, the scientist sent Bella to work in another city the next day. Seeing that the time was right, he immediately found the assistant and injected the cells of the python for him again. And Jesse knew nothing about it, just thinking it was a simple vaccine antibody. But as time passed, his body underwent astonishing changes, and the severe pain made it unbearable for him. Seeing that Jesse was already powerless to resist, the scientist finally took off his disguise and planned to completely transform him into a python. However, the scientist never imagined that his daughter had not gone to apply for a job at all, but secretly went to the circus, wanting to see the legendary monster. As soon as they met, she was immediately shocked and frightened. Unexpectedly, the monster was actually the first assistant of the father. Seeing the other party emitting painful wails, Bella immediately realized that her boyfriend was in danger, so she hurriedly drove back to the laboratory, but it was too late. At this time, the scientist had injected the last dose of the reagent for Jesse and successfully transformed him into a cobra. However, when the scientist was about to discipline him, Jesse suddenly launched an attack. It turned out that Jesse still retained the consciousness of a human, with the rapid spread of the venom throughout his body. The unsuspecting scientist was killed on the spot. At this time, the panicked Bella finally rushed back, but her father was already a cold corpse, and the transformed Jesse was engaged in a life and death struggle with the flat-headed brother